welcome back to Cheap and Green. Today I want to talk about plastic, disposable plastic, one-use plastic stuff that somehow made it into our lives and we're just used to it now. And I want to talk about that in terms of ocean debris and plastic and sea life. I've already talked about the dangers of microbeads, and actually there's great news. The Canadian government is banning microbeads this year, actually, in 2018. I think by the middle of the year, microbeads will be banned and no longer allowed in products in Canada. That follows several European countries, including the UK, and also, I believe, parts of the United States as well. I talked a bit about microbeads in a previous show, and I will put a link to that in the comments below. But for those of you who aren't aware, microbeads are tiny little pieces of plastic that are put primarily in sort of personal care things, right? Like hand lotion, hand scrubs, toothpaste, and a number of other products that talk about exfoliating or scrubbing, right? These are non-biodegradable little bits of plastic, and because they are so small, they make it through filtration systems and they end up in our waterways. The good news is that microbeads are being banned and will no longer be in the products that we buy. The bad news is that we've discovered another source of tiny bits of plastic, and that's in our clothes. This is bad news for us thrifters who love going to, the Goodwills and the thrift shops and getting secondhand sweaters and pants and whatever, because the older the garment is, and this is synthetic garments, right? We're not talking about natural fibers here, we're talking about synthetics. These synthetic pieces of clothing actually shed little fibers of plastic. Same problem, they end up, through washing, they end up into our waterways, they aren't screened out, and they end up into oceans. So what do you do, right? I mean, obviously I'm not saying go into your closet and throw out half your wardrobe, because, that's not a great idea. That's not going to help anybody. For the stuff that you already have that has synthetic fibers in it, and that includes things like workout clothes, right? Because all that lycra and spandex, that's basically plastic. So what you want to try and do is only wash it when it's necessary. Tricky when it's workout clothes, but don't wash your clothes too much, and that will minimize. And then in the future, look for natural fibers. When you go thrifting, look for wool, look for cotton, look for linen. Try and stay with the natural fibers as much as you possibly can. Single-use plastic items. How many of you have used things like this recently? I mean, these are plastic, right? So these are never going to go away. They're going to stay on Earth forever. Like basically forever. They don't decompose. I think most of us are aware that doctors don't really recommend us sticking things in our ears. So there's not really a super great reason for using these things. They're not healthy for us, and they just end up being another throwaway item that ends up in our waterways. And I'm going to provide you with a link. There's a striking picture of an estuary seahorse wrapped around a pink Q-tip. So that, to me, that was a real slap in the face. We want to be clean. We want to have clean ears and, personal hygiene issues. So what are we going to use instead of the Q-tips? We all have one of these. And we usually have one of these. And generally these fit inside here perfectly. And no doctor is going to be upset with you for doing that. You're not going to damage your ear. So this is really the way to go. This is another one-use product that we've all gotten really comfortable with. I mean, it's fast food, it's in our houses. We just use these straws and we throw them away. But I don't know if you've seen that video of scientists trying to pull one of these out of a sea turtle's nose. Kind of horrifying. I certainly don't want it to be my straw that ends up in a sea turtle. So I've been really making an effort to try and remember to ask for no straws when I go out anywhere. And a lot of restaurants are voluntarily discontinuing this, so that is awesome news. And the way to get more restaurants on board is to be the person that asks for no straws and explains why. If you really need to use a straw, and there's lots of reasons why you might want to, paper straws are biodegradable and they're a great idea. You can also find online glass or stainless steel straws. If straws are really a big deal, you can grab one of those, stick it in your purse, and you can have it for when you're out and you need a straw. You might remember when I turned an old garbage can into a composter, and then the next spring I ended up with this wonderful compost for my garden. When I was digging through it, I noticed some things that didn't decompose. One of them was the eggshells that I mentioned, but I also noticed tea bags. These guys did not decompose in my composter, and I couldn't figure out why. I mean, it's basically dried leaves and paper, right? It should decompose easily. Well, guess what? This is not paper, it's plastic. Just about every tea manufacturer I could find uses some kind of polypropylene plastic in their tea bag. So these are really a problem. I mean, they're one use, they're throwaway, and we all thought that they were fine. I mean, I don't know about you, but I assumed that this was paper. There's no way I am going without my morning cup of tea. I mean, that just needs to happen, or I don't feel like I'm a human being. So what are you gonna do if the tea bags are all made of plastic? You have to do some research. This is one option. These tea bags, this is actually a company called Sloan, and these tea bags are made out of silk. So they are going to biodegrade just fine. You can throw them in your compost and they're going to be just fine. Plus it feels like a little bit of luxury. The other option is to go loose leaf. There are loads of companies that will even deliver to your house amazing varieties of loose leaf tea. All you need for the loose leaf tea is to put it inside one of these little containers that you can pick up at any dollar store. You can use this 100 times, many times, and it's never going to add to the plastic in the ocean. Trying to overhaul your life and remove all plastic is really a monumental task. So I wouldn't recommend that you try and do everything tomorrow. I would say that you pick one thing that you're going to concentrate on and incorporate that into your life until it's normal, and then choose the next thing. I mean, if you want to be ambitious and do everything, then great, I applaud you. Tell me how you did it. Let me know how it goes. But this stuff can be difficult when we're already so busy. So just try and do one thing. Imagine the difference if everybody just did one thing. Thanks for joining me on Cheap and Green. I really appreciate you stopping by. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below and what you're doing to try and reduce plastic and the burden that our oceans are taking from all of this disposable stuff. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.